How's everybody doing today? Let's go. Sorry, it's been a while. Had a lot going on. Getting ready for the baby. Had 4th of July weekend. Hope everyone had a great 4th of July weekend. Got a lot of stuff going on here for AMC. Nothing but good stuff going forward here for the stock, for the company, fundamentals. I am extremely excited for AMC going forward. We're going to break down a lot of stuff here. Like I said, guys, don't sleep on those children's movies. We're gonna go over the collectibles, the popcorn dispensers, all this stuff. Nothing but good news here for AMC going forward. I think we're going to kill it the rest of this year. I believe that next year is good. They already said nothing but profitability. 2026 looks even. 2026 looks insane. I know a lot of people are like, we're talking 2026, but literally like a year and a half away. It'll come quicker than you think. But like I said, I'm not saying we have to wait till 2026, but the point is projections of AMC fundamentally just go up. I'm jacked. I am extremely jacked to see what's going on here now for AMC. So I'm going to go ahead and, yeah, I saw Vanguard. I don't know if you guys didn't see the news with Vanguard. They're holding 10.32% now. The one thing about Vanguard buying those shares, as we already know, they're just going to go ahead, buy those shares and lend them out. So that's not necessarily a good thing for us, but they're also not going to be selling those shares anytime because they are just going to be sitting there lending them out. So it's not like those shares are going to be sold by them for a dump or anything either. So we saved AMC. You're damn right we did. We definitely saved AMC. And like I said, one of the things, you got to think about what they've been saying to us. Look back in the history. Look at all the, past time periods. When you're in recessions, when you're in depressions, where do people go? They go to the movies. They could try to escape reality, escape the hardships that they're going through. And on top of that, what else do they go? They go and get popcorn. And AMC has both. So, again, we'll go into that stuff here in a second. Is the CAT system doing anything? It's doing stuff. It's not is the CAT system doing anything. It's is the SEC doing anything with the information that the CAT system is giving them. And that was the one thing I said with the CAT system that does, we're going to see what the SEC is about. I said this right away. If the SEC doesn't do anything for a while, guess what? We know the SEC doesn't give a fuck because now they have all the information at their fingertips. If the SEC, takes a little bit, starts making some cases here in a couple months, all right, they're using the CAT system. But until then, like I said, everything, they have the access. They have no excuses anymore. The SEC has literally no excuses for not going after anybody. On top of that, like I said, you can keep on a trial and all this stuff. So let's get into this, though. We got quite a few people already jumping in. But again, let's get into AMC right away. I want to talk about the stock going forward, fundamentals, everything, because like I said, we're finally to that point. I feel like we're growing an apple tree, and an apple tree takes like 6 to 8 years, and all of a sudden it starts producing fruit, and it produces fruit every 2 years for the rest of its life. So I feel like we just finally got to that point. We finally got our fruit to start bearing now. So if you guys will go ahead and let's read the article. I'm sure you guys heard this from everybody, but if you didn't, more than 4 million people went to AMC. It was the highest domestic attendance for Wednesday through Sunday in 2024. It talks about the Despicable Me things. Now, I told you guys the greatest thing for us is these kids' movies are exploding because the kids are the ones who go in there and they get all the food and beverage, they get all the candies and pop, and they want all the toys. And this talks about AMC's merchandise strategy becomes a hit as it's actually their highest second grossing merchandising behind the Taylor Swift concert. So again, don't ever sleep on these children's movies. These movies are going to explode. I expect Despicable Me to continue, actually improve this weekend. A lot of people were out of town. A lot of people were on vacation. A lot of people were out doing stuff for 4th of July. We're out at carnivals, things like that all day to where you didn't want to go to a movie after. I expect it to pick back up this weekend. On top of that, Despicable Me is in theaters for like 100 days. That has no competitors other than Inside Out 2, which obviously that's still going to give you a lot of revenue over this month here. Sorry, my dog distracted me. Over this next month, but it's not going to do anything to rival Despicable Me. Not even close. I still expect this to pass $1 billion. This will be going into August as well. Deadpool. So August, we're still gonna have a giant month. But if we go ahead and look at the domestic box office quick, here's Adam Aaron. Another big weekend for AMC. Most attended Wednesday through Sunday of 2024. 4 million guests. Merchandise, the second biggest ever, only behind Taylor Swift. July 3rd, food and beverage sales were the third highest ever in AMC history. So again, a lot of people I expect to go hitting up. I expect this to be broken again this weekend. Nothing but great news for AMC. Like I said, fundamentally, this is what we've been needing. If you go ahead and you look over at the box office right now, this does not include Wednesday. So if you look at the daily chart here, last Wednesday, what did we do? We did about 42 million, and then Thursday we did about 40 million. So I expect around those same numbers, maybe slightly improved, because again, more people are actually home, not on vacation, not worn out from all the carnivals, going to the rides, doing all that stuff, watching parades. So even if you add about 80 billion, that puts us at what we're at right now for the quarter. That would put us at about, before the weekend started, about 81. So we're at about 403, 405 million to start it off. This weekend, you got long legs as well. So again, I expect about 160, 180. So we're going to be looking at almost 600 million to start the first half of the quarter. Now, that doesn't even have Deadpool out. You got Twister coming out next. So around the end of this month, I could see us at about 1.2 billion, 1.11555 around there. Maybe even higher, depends on, how well Deadpool does. They expect Deadpool for the weekend, its domestic first opening weekend, to do 160, 165 million. So again, this is we're finally going to have a very, very, very profitable quarter. I'm going to get into what I believe we can get into by the end of this quarter here domestically. Like I said, this is going to be our best quarter, I believe, ever since the pandemic. I mean, we're going to crush box office. It's not even going to be close. So by the end of this, 1 second here. Doc keeps distracting the fuck out of me. All right, buddy. Give me that. All right, so sorry about that. So again, when you look at the rest of this quarter and what is still coming out for the rest of this quarter, you have 1 second. Sorry, I had all my stuff moved around. So like I said, we still have this weekend. We have Long Legs coming out. Next weekend, you have Twister coming out. The weekend after that, you have Deadpool coming out. You're still going to have Despicable Me dominating. Like I said, I expect us to finish this at about 1.2, 1.115. And then when we get into August here, on August 2nd, Trap comes out. That movie looks, Midnight Shyamalan's Trap, that looks insanely good. I expect that to do actually very, very well. I see a lot of people posting about that on Twitter. But you're also going to have your majority of Deadpool. I expect Deadpool to domestically, like I said, crush it at the box office. I easily could be 500, 600, 700 million at the box office by the time that's done. That thing's going to be the biggest one of the year, I believe, especially for, obviously for adults. That it's going to be hard to beat Inside Out 2. That thing did like 1.3 billion. So, but like I said, Deadpool is going to destroy it. On top of that, you'll have Despicable Me, Inside Out. So August is going to continuously improve by the end of, by the way, we also have Borderlands coming out in August. What else we got out in August here? We got Aliens coming out in August. There was another movie, where was it? There's another one on there. I can't remember what the hell it was. Sorry, I didn't write it down on my work pad. There's another movie coming out in August that could do very well, but again, you're going to have Deadpool. So I expect us to be at the end of August around 2 trillion is where I have a set. And then you have September coming. September, you have Beetlejuice. You have a Transformers movie. You have Megaopolis. You have another, there's another one in there that I have written down that I think can do super well. It's called The Wild Robot, and it's a children's movie. And like I said, don't sleep on those children's movies. They can easily, it just takes, a little bit for them to explode, and then all the kids have to see it. So I believe that Wild Robot can do it, but I believe we are going to end this quarter at about 2.8 billion, which puts AMC pretty profitable here. So again, I expect a very profitable quarter here in Q3. Q4, it is just as good. You have the Joker. You have Smile. You have Venom. You have Mona 2. Mona 2 is going to kill it. You have Gladiator 2. You have The Lord of the Rings. It's an animated one, but it could still do very well. You also have Lion King 2. Sonic the Hedgehog 3. You also have Wicked. You have Red One. You have, or is another one? I know I'm missing another one. But again, you should have another profitable quarter in Q4 in 2025. Oh, by the way, Paramount had to, all these people that said streaming services were going to just kill movie theaters. Well, movie theaters, AMC's not dying, and Paramount now needs to merge with Sundance just to survive. So, Paramount streaming services, if you guys look at all these guys' streaming services numbers, they're horrendous. They're losing all of these companies' money. One second here. All right, sorry about that. And like I said, we're in a recession. So one of the things that always happens is, like I said, people want to go to popcorn. They want to go to theaters. But if you look at the movie theaters that are released here for 2025, I'm sorry, this is 2026 here, and I'm going to show you 2026. 2026 should be about 12 billion at the box office. 2026, you're going to have like above pre-pandemic levels. 2026 slate is unbelievable. But this is just the movies for next year. You're going to have Lion King 2 spill into it because Lion King 2 is going to be out for about a week and a half in 2024. So you're going to have Lion King 2 spill over. Then you're going to have Jurassic World 4, SpongeBob movie. This should destroy it. I mean, it might not beat Inside Out 2, but it could definitely hit $1 billion. But SpongeBob's massive. That thing is massive. You got a Mission Impossible 8. The Fantastic Four, you have a Superman, Captain America, you have Avatar 3, you have Aladdin 2, you have Thunderbolts, which is Marvel. That one's Marvel, isn't? I'm not really into the comics. I think Thunderbolts Marvel's. Yeah, let me check. I'm pretty sure it's Marvel. Yeah, that's Marvel Comics. So that one's the Marvel one. So that's the other one, not Avengers, but the other one. Then you got Blade coming out. You have a Now You See Me 3. You have a Michael Jackson movie coming out. You have Constantine 2. You have Tron Ares. You have John Wick 5. Ballerina. Sorry if people... Ballerina is what it's called. Final Destination 5. You have the next Saw movie. The next Mortal Kombat. The next Karate Kid movie. I wrote Happy Gilmore just because I like Happy Gilmore, but it is a Netflix movie. I don't think it's coming in theaters, but I do like Happy Gilmore, so I wrote that down. You got Scream. You have Dodgeball 2, which could kill it. Minecraft, Smurfs, Star Wars. This is an animated one, though. But you have the next Passion of the Christ. Like I said, Lion King will be out there. You have a Snow White, Sherlock Holmes 3, Highlander. Now, these Zootopia movies, this is going to be like your next Inside Out 2. This Zootopia movie will blow up. How to Train Your Dragons, these do really well. The Bad Guys too. These are all super big kids movies. As you can see from this year, don't sleep on children's movies. You got Mickey 17, Frankenstein, and I wrote I wrote Tom Cruise here, but it's Brad Pitt. It's Brad Pitt's F11. So you have a whole bunch more movies coming out, and that's the one thing that AMC has always been missing. It's just been content. A lot of people sit there and they go, why always support Adam Aaron and all this? I don't always support Adam Aaron. I've told you guys a ton of times I don't agree with him. But everyone thinks he's out to get you, and I don't believe that's the case. Because, again, fundamentally, when we got into this play, we were burning hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. Nobody wanted to acknowledge it, and everybody got in for a squeeze play. Okay, well, this, it's squeezed up. Everybody thought, it would go higher. It could do this. It wasn't. Obviously, you saw the GameStop report. It should have gone higher. It wasn't covered. It was rolled into swaps, and then it was buried. So everybody, like I said, we all know what we know, and we know what the fuck's been going on for how long. Like I said, and I told everybody, one of the things we needed to have happen is for Little Billy. That's why I brought up Little Billy. We needed to kill the short thesis. The short thesis needed to die. Adam Aaron he closed down 161 theaters and he bought 56 theaters. Those 56 theaters are outperforming those 161, which shows me he's cutting costs. He's getting rid of cash burn. He came out with Sorry, he came out with, the popcorn, the candy to, again, increase profit margins. We upgraded theaters. We upgraded the new laser projectors. He's doing things to increase the business. He's renegotiating rent at a very high rate. He's saving us a lot of money by renegotiating rent. Said he's listened to us about tons of things. He did the NFT thing. I mean, he's done what he needs to do to keep his company afloat. On top of that, he created Ape. A lot of people hate that he created Ape, but again, if you didn't create Ape, you might not even have a company to this day. So a lot of you would be whining that you don't even have an investment, but you have an investment because, again, we should have gave him that because we needed that money. Nobody wanted to acknowledge the capital burn, the writer's strike. Everybody wanted to blame him on that. Guess what? If we never had a writer's strike, you would have had a ton more movies. You wouldn't have had these quarters where you had giant, massive cash burn. Tons of these movies that I'm going to go over in 2026 would have been in 2025. Tons of those movies in 2025 would have been in 2024 and so on. But let's get into 2026 as well because, again, 2026 is going to be unbelievable. You already, and they haven't even started announcing movies. There's going to be tons more announcements because, again, you got people like Paramount and all of these other production companies that were so fucking greedy. They had to have a writer's strike. They had to do that. Well, guess what? They lost money. They lost a ton of money. And they have shareholders, and they need to do share buybacks, or those, their super rich shareholder friends are going to get all pissy with them. So, again, you're going to have way more of these pumping out before this is done. But just look at 2026's slate already. You have Frozen 3. This is going to be unbelievable at the box office. You have a Shrek 5. You have Toy Story 5. You have the next 3 Star Wars films. You have the next Avengers film. You have the next Fast and Furious. You have the next Batman movie. You have Super Mario Brothers 2. You have Mona. This is a live action Mona. This is going to be with The Rock and his daughter. I'm pretty sure it was his daughter. It's The Rock, and I'm pretty sure it's his daughter. Maybe not. But it's a live action Mona. You also have the next Lord of the Rings Gollum. That's going to be insane. Lord of the Rings movies are insane. Mario Brothers is insane. You have The Last Airbender. You have the next Hunger Games. You have the next Cat in the Hat. You have the next Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2. You have a Paw Patrol 3 movie. Project Hail Mary is supposed to be... They're blowing it up like it's supposed to be some massive thing. And then you also have the next Steven Spielberg movie. It's not yet named, but Steven Spielberg movies always blow up. 2026 is going to be unbelievable. Like I said, these first 10, 11 movies could be billion-dollar movies. So it's like I said, you could easily break 12 billion, and that's all AMC's needed. We've needed to fundamentally recover, kill the short thesis. Now, what I see next happening for AMC, he talked about how there won't be any ATM offerings, nothing on the table. A lot of people are asking me what I see going on. I don't see him now. Now that I look at what's happening, I don't see him doing the debt restructure. Maybe in August is when I think he's going to do it. I think he's going to just let July keep exploding. I think he's going to let August numbers keep blowing up, and all of a sudden, then you go and you can go sit at the table. Maybe you do a debt for equity, but as you keep seeing the box office recover, the price recover, then maybe he tries to do one more debt for equity exchange, and then he renegotiates that 2026 debt. And then, like I said, by that time, AMC is just profits. 2026, we're destroying it. So again, AMC's short thesis is finally dead. It's completely dead. We just need to get through all this bullshit, the writer's strike, the less content. That's all coming out now. So again, nothing but great things here for AMC. Fundamentally, is like I said, you can bet on the recovery of the box office at this point, and it's looking real good to me. So, anyone have any questions? Kids love movies. Like I said, man, the amount of movies coming out now in the next year, the fact that we're going to be profitable, we're not going to be burning fucking cash where we need to do ATMs. That's the thing. We're not going to have to sit there and keep doing fucking offerings. We're finally going to start being able to profit enough to pay fucking debt. And that's been the number one goal. That should be the goal of all companies, is being profitable enough to not have to sell shares and pay your debts down and pay your expenses and keep upgrading. And like I said, that's exactly where AMC's heading. The rest of this year will be massive because what else do we have going on? When you're going to have Despicable Me, all merchandise sales are going to keep going crazy. They're going to keep going crazy the rest of this month, next month. But what else do you have is Deadpool. Deadpool is comic book people. Those are the people who actually do buy toys. Those are the people who do buy merchandise. Those are the people who do go out and buy all that stuff. So again, you have Despicable Me and Deadpool. So you're gonna have a ton of merchandise sales on top of all of these ticket sales, all this food and beverage sales. I expect this quarter to be massive for us, you guys. Massive for us. But again, like I said, I expect us around 2.8, which is huge. That's a massive quarter. So it's just bangers after bangers after bangers coming out from this point on, and that is all AMC needed. So again, guys, we've weathered the fucking storm. Billy's got his operation. Billy is ready to get out of the hospital. And we're just going to have to make sure when little Billy's crossing the street this time, we're holding his fucking hand. Again, guys, go see a movie. Go see a movie. Oh, yeah, we had Venom. Venom was the movie I was missing. That was the movie. I was like, I know I'm missing another super big movie in Q4. In Q4, also Venom 3. And that movie looks badass. I really want to see that movie, actually, too. So no questions on AMC at all. When earliest can AA and Cole make a cash dividend? They can make a cash dividend as soon as the board they said agrees on one. Again, I don't, but it's got to be beneficial. There's got to be a purpose. Otherwise, you can't just make a dividend to try and expose. It's just not the time. I mean, I could see him doing a dividend next year if we're just cash flow positive. If we're profiting every quarter, eventually, then yeah, I can see him doing that, and that's exactly where we're heading. And that's the other thing about fundamentals. Everybody was talking about, oh, we need a dividend. Well, the way you get to a dividend is you get to profitability. And again, that's exactly where we're heading. Ricky, I appreciate that, my friend. Thank you very much. Always appreciate the Baby Bigums fund, my friend. So again, we're going to start tackling debt. I expect in August we have more than enough. Here's the thing. I don't expect an ATM offering in July. I expect us to be, raking in cash from Despicable Me, Inside Out 2, Deadpool, even in August. Because again, you have to think about it this way, guys. Think about it this way. Let's do the math quick, okay? So let's say we end. You have about 165, so you're going to get about 240 million in that last weekend in July, at least. If we end this at about 600, like I said, we're going to end this at about 550. So we're going to end at about 1.115. Like I said, you're going to end about 1.115 to 1.2. Okay. Now, since Deadpool is mainly going to be running in August, and then you're going to have those August movies, you have to assume Deadpool domestically can do about 350 to 400. Okay. On top of that, you're still going to have Despicable Me. Now, Despicable Me, the thing that Despicable Me's got is there's not any other children's movies, so the kids are going to want to keep seeing it. So Despicable Me is going to have a long shelf life. So in August, Despicable Me is going to do easily a couple hundred million. Inside Out 2 in August, it's going to fizzle, but it could still do about 50 million. Those three movies alone are going to put up about 600 to 700 million. And that's not even counting the movies that are released in August. So if you do it that way, now you're looking at about 2 billion to 2.1 billion at the end of August. Well, now you have all of September. And I just showed you the movies in September. So you can easily get to that 2.8, 2.9. Potentially, if another movie explodes, a $3 billion box office. And guess what? You're talking AMC profiting easily over 100 million. Easily if it's up at easily way over that. And if it's over 2.93. You're feeling really fucking good. So again, this quarter for AMC is going to be massive. And then the other thing you got to realize that doesn't include popcorn sales and all the other stuff outside. So at that point, it's all profitable. So again, we're feeling really fucking good right now. AMC, doesn't need to do an ATM offering, because at the end of this quarter, again, we could be profiting 100 million plus. So then they can wait out. They can wait it out, let their price recover, and then that's the beautiful thing. And this is the one thing I've wanted to say about fundamentals that people don't understand. When you are fundamentally sound, when you are profiting, you only dilute when the dilution is worth it. You're not diluting to stay alive. You're diluting when the price is recovered. You're diluting when the price is up higher. You can raise a big amount of capital. Welcome to GameStop. Welcome to GameStop. You don't have that high debt. You can start to profit. You can start to sell it when it's worth it instead of chasing it or just selling it because you need to survive. That's the type of things you can start to do. So again, guys, we're feeling great for AMC. We're having tons of doors opens we've never had before going forward. I'm insanely excited to have AMC right now. I'm still going to keep getting it at this price. I believe this price, like I said, fundamentally, when it recovers, is way above this price. So let's keep going here a little bit, though. I do want to show you guys some things because I've been talking about... 1 second here. All right, sorry about that. So I've been talking about commercial real estate, regional banks, and how they're going to get, go under with these loans. They're not going to be able to take it. Well, guess what's happening now? Citadel sees blood in the water. Citadel knows exactly what I know. Citadel knows that these regional banks are going to get fucked up. So look what they're doing. Citadel Security, this comes out today. Citadel Security crafts a plan to shake up bank trading desks. So Kenny sees blood in the water and he's going after the fucking minnows. Inside Ken Griffin's Citadel Securities, a new strategy for handling even more of Wall Street trading is starting to take shape. Kenny Boy's looking for struggling banks, regional banks. So he's looking for struggling banks and struggling brokerages around the world. Now he's going up to those brokerages and he's kind of saying, let's kind of do a partnership type thing. Okay. What he wants is, they're going to get equity in your company, of course. And what you're going to do is you're going to be able to announce partnering with Citadel, blah, blah, blah. All, oh God, they're partnering with Citadel. They're backed by Citadel. And then Citadel's going to say, all you need to do, you guys handle the front end shit. You be the face, and we'll handle all the back end stuff, which means you give me control of the guts of your trading desk, including all of your technology, your analytics, and listen to this. And by the way, I want to control your execution. I want to include all your execution goes through me. No one else. It all goes through Citadel. You will get all the IOUs from Citadel you can fucking handle. You no longer are an institution that will be able to get, shares that actually count. We're going to force you into payment for order flow, and we're going to force you into dark pools. But don't worry, you'll have my brand on you, so you're good to go. So in other words, they're trying to come in there and scoop up and fuck these regional banks up. Get in there, get their strategies, get their analytics, get their technology, be able to take their execution, or their execution, their order flow, control their order flow, make it go around the banks. So little Ken Boy, like I said, he knows the same thing I see, guys. These regional banks are going to get fucked up. And when they get fucked up from this commercial real estate bomb, the big banks are going to get fucked up. And here's the thing. The system is collapsing. And you don't see it yet. And I'm going to show you it. It is collapsing on them. And there's not much they can do. The problem is what they're doing is they're pushing it to this new loan. And then they'll push it to this new loan. And I'll show you exactly what they're doing. I will literally show you what they're doing and how they're why isn't it crashed, Bigums? Why hasn't this gone yet? I'm going to show you why. It's very simple. So, well, first, before we get into that, again, you guys, Chase Bank now will no longer allow credit cards to be used for buy now, pay later programs. More and more and more saying, I'm no longer going to do this, not going to be involved with it. I'm not going to let you pay your cards with it. I'm not going to offer it anymore. Again, guys, buy now, pay later is a bomb that I'm telling you is going to explode at some point very, very, very soon. And I'm going to show you why too as well. But here, something I need to show you guys because this is fucked up. And this is, before we get into what these banks are doing, I'm going to show you why they're doing it. And this is the most fucked up thing. It's just classic. It is honest to God classic. This is our government. We made the Dodd-Frank rules. We did something to protect you, and it's in your interest. And we created this thing that makes sense. Okay? They created something that makes sense. But what we're going to do is after we create this thing that makes sense, we're going to let the banks hire lobbyists, and then they're going to destroy it. Okay, now watch this. So, back when the Dodd-Frank was created, one of the things that they wanted to do was create a giant fund. Now, this fund was going to be called an OLF fund. Now, what that meant was these banks, not people, not taxpayers, mega banks, were supposed to deposit a ton of money into this fund, billions and billions and billions of dollars, right? In case a bank ever failed, they could pull from that fund. And guess what? It would not burden the taxpayers. Does that make sense to you? It makes sense to me. That's a great idea. So all the fucking banks can pay for each other's faults. Perfect. Taxpayers don't need to pay a dime for criminal activities. That sounds logical. Well, guess what happened? So this was created in 2010. 2010. So this has been up for 14 years. The balance of this account for 14 years has been zero. When this was created, when this was established, when this was all ready to go, it was going to be called a liquidation fund. When they passed the Dodd-Frank, they passed it, they created the fund, they got it all ready to go. Well, guess what? The big banks lobbied, they defeated proposals that would have required the mega banks to pay the premium and fund it. So what ended up happening is all of a sudden they paid some guys, they went into Congress, they lobbied, they got it to they wrote some new rules, and the banks no longer needed to pay for it. Okay? So for 14 years, the account balance has been zero. Now watch how much fun this gets. Because of the rules that are written in the Dodd-Frank, if this fund is zero, then they go to the Treasury. So now, when the FDIC and these banks collapse, the FDIC borrows from the Treasury, and we pay for it. So now if the FDIC has strong incentives to avoid borrowing from the Treasury to do failed mega banks, borrowing from the Treasury, blah, 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 would raise blah, blah, blah. But all it will do is raise federal debt. It will just raise the federal debt. And it will make us raise taxes. Because the FDIC is broke. The FDIC had to ask those mega banks to borrow money. How in the living fuck is all of your money safe in a bank account that is backed by the FDIC that is insolvent? They have no fucking money. They gotta go borrow from the fucking treasuries in case one of their big banks fails. And then we pay for it. The government debt rises. It's a complete joke. All this shit is an unbelievable fucking joke. And then what it also goes into, well, what's been going on? All of these mega banks, instead of collapsing, since the 2008 crisis, have been bailed out It's $19.87 trillion by the Federal Reserve. The feds and their repos and all this bullshit is totaled up to $19.87 trillion that was pumped into fucking through loans. How do they keep it afloat? They've been going into the Federal Reserve and taking out trillions to go back in with collateral. And so I said, the Federal Reserve is not your fucking friend. They're here to bail out banks and print and do anything they can do to make sure that their best friends that are too big to fail don't collapse. And their only job is to figure out how they're able to allow these guys to steal and not have inflation get out of control. That is the point of the Federal Reserve right now. That is the point of the Federal Reserve. Their sole purpose right now is to figure out how these banks can keep stealing billions and trillions and getting away with it. And inflation stays just enough to where the population doesn't revolt. That is what they have become. And then, if you look, it talks about in 2019, when the repo market seized up. Well, guess what? Or when they had that crash, guess what happened? They wouldn't even release the document showing how much people were getting in the repo markets. Wall Street on Parade actually pulled it out, but there ended up being a mainstream media blackout. Nobody could get this information on how much was getting pumped into these banks. Well, JP Morgan got 2.59 trillion pumped into them. Noroma Securities got 3.7 trillion. Why are we pumping them up? Goldman Sachs got a good 1.6 trillion. Now this was just fucking in 2019, and it keeps going and keeps going. Well, why do I bring this up? Mega banks continue to exploit subsidiaries, resulting in widely shared expectation of future bailouts. Given the lack of credibility and strategic for resolving failures of mega banks without publicly funded rescues. So in other words, as long as there's rules that, the fucking taxpayers will bail these guys out and they don't have to fund these programs that were created by literally the Dodd-Frank for them to fund in case of these emergencies. Mega banks pose grave threats to financial stabilities and social welfare. They're literally fucking financial terrorists to the United States. Requiring big banks to increase their equity capital significantly would be an important first step. Well, what have I been talking about? The endgame rules. That's exactly what that does. Well, what did I tell you guys would happen? So, the head of the FDIC was blocking the banks from being able to edit the rules. He told them to fuck off, and he told them that he wanted 19% and he won't budge. There's nothing they can do to change his fucking mind. So what do? They hire an independent reporter. He comes out and says there's sexual harassment in the FDIC, and it's fucking rampant. It's rampant, and it's this guy, and he's allowing it. And what do you know? Last month he resigned. So he wouldn't take their bribe, so they basically forced him out. Okay, cool. Good job. Well, now that he's gone and there's nobody blocking them, what comes up fucking 2 days ago? Powell says regulators are near a revamped endgame rules. We've already changed them up. We got rid of this guy 1 week ago, and we're already near terms on a whole fucking new resolution. So in other words, you had a plan set in place. This guy said fucking no. You kicked him out with a sexual harassment bullshit fucking independent report that you paid for by the mega banks. And you already have a plan set in place a week later, and you guys are already almost ready to do fucking handshakes? Yeah, there's nothing to fucking see here. Nothing to see here. So let's read a little bit of the article that we can see. So, Jerome Powell says U.S. regulators are close to agreeing to change their plan to force big banks to hold significantly more capital. This is a move that could mark a major win for Wall Street banks. No way. Another major win. So in other words, government's here to always let major Wall Street banks win because they pay the major Wall Street bank, or they pay your politicians their fucking speaking fees. Great. So the rules were originally set to make them hold 19%, and they got it revamped down to brand new rules that he's not ready to announce yet. But what it says in the very last sentence here, regulators are looking forward to the public's comments on the new rules that are going to be revamped. So the second all this shit comes out, I'm going to point you to this link, and we're all going to flood it. We're all going to flood it, and we're going to fucking do what we did last time when we fucking called their offices, we flooded their emails, and we're going to keep flooding them, and we're going to flood them more, and we're going to say we're going to not vote you ever again. We're going to make sure everybody knows you're a fucking criminal, and we're going to keep showing that you don't need to be voted for. I'm going to make sure everybody in your fucking state knows you're a criminal, and you're never going to be in politics again. And that's the only way that we got him to stop it last time. And it's going to be the way we get him to stop it this time. They cannot revamp these rules for criminals again. We're going to make sure we're fucking heard. And we're going to make sure we're commenting. All of us, all of your friends. We need to literally fuck these guys up. Because criminals run the country. Because they have trillions of dollars that your government has given them. And now they have your government by the balls. Now, let's get into some really fucked up shit here too. Because the reason I'm showing you all this is because the amount of theft that is happening in this country in different sectors, not just Wall Street, is why this isn't going to last. And why in AMC, I believe you picked the perfect stock to ride this out and for a moon and for a squeeze. Because again, when you have people depressed, when you have people fucking in a recession, in a depression, the one thing that thrives is movie theaters and popcorn. So again, when this system collapses on itself, that's where people will run to. Now, I posted this like 4 days ago. Fucking insurers pocket $50 billion from Medicare for fake diseases that were never treated, for treatments that never happened, and for all sorts of bullshit. And I'm going to show you the scam, and we're going to fucking... If you ever know anybody, a grandparent, somebody on Medicare, somebody who's going to be on it soon, make sure they hear about this, because this is still happening. They're stealing billions and giving you a fucking gift card when you allow them to steal. How people are not in prison right now is unbelievable. All right. 1 second. Alrighty, so let's get into this. Rampant abuse of the system. Insurers made patients appear sicker, pocketing $50 billion from Medicare for diseases doctors never treated. And how do they do this? If you ever hear somebody talk to you about home care and they're on Medicare and they get a gift card or anything like that, they've been scammed, and they're one of the reasons why these guys were able to do this. So if you come down here and look at this stuff, talks about, they talked to a patient. They talked to tons of these patients. This is exactly what happened. One of the patients said. So she was diagnosed with diabetes. Okay, so she had diabetes out of nowhere, and what they ended up doing, because she had it, is they gave her the option for home care. Once she signed up through home care, they were pushing it on her because she goes, "I don't need home care. I can just come into the office." Okay. I can just come in there if I need a shot. I can just take insulin home, whatever. There's tons of diabetics that stay at home, and they don't need home care. They don't need the ability for, whatever, all of that stuff, okay? So they'll sit there and they'll call you, and, they'll push it, and then they'll start offering you things. They offered her, to get her to sign up, they ended up offering her a $50 gift card. That's all it took. $50 gift card, because for us, hey, $50, sweet. That's cool, there's some food. For them, that's nothing, because they're about to steal fucking $1 million because they gave you a $50 gift card. So The second she signs up for home care with this through Medicare, so it's covered through Medicare, they end up saying that she had all these home visits, and they ended up talking about, she had diabetic contractions. The second here's how the scheme works. The second you sign up for home care, what it does is it gives doctors special abilities. That means you no longer need to go to a hospital. You no longer need to go to a doctor's office to be diagnosed, which means you don't need the proper test, official medical records. That doctor himself at your home now has rights to declare and give you things, symptoms, he can diagnose you there. He can say you need treatment of this there. No one needs to confirm it. It's the doctor. He is perfect. He's everything. He's 100% word. It is, he said this is that. Everything's good to go. He said you're diabetic. Okay. So what ended up happening with this lady that I'm talking about? They ended up talking about to this lady that this is a lie now. It didn't happen. They told that she ended up getting HIV. Okay? Through insulin, through needles. She ended up contracting HIV and needed HIV treatments. Okay? Never happened. But insurance was covering this. And the doctors themselves, it talks about how they get paid and all this stuff because these doctors themselves, if they look at Steve, she ends up getting diabetic through HIV. She ends up getting some questionable diagnosis. Is like, why does she have HIV all of a sudden? What the hell is this? This. Talks about private insurance or like, hey, well, what's going on is they're sitting there literally stealing $50 billion from Medicare patients. They stole $50 million or $1 billion through fake claims. They gave people diabetes that didn't have it, and then they signed them up for the fucking program. Then they said the people were getting AIDS. They were doing this. They were contracting this. They needed home remedies. They would go get them. The person would get their $50 gift card. They'd go up and they'd call Medicare. They get them it improved under their insurance, home care, and also next thing you notice, the doctors are, like I said, they're sitting there. From 2018, listen to this, for 3 years, this triggered an extra taxpayer-funded payments of $50 billion. For 3 years. Fake insurance, fake claims, fake diseases, fake treatments, fake medicine, fake home visits. And none of these doctors, none of them are going to prison. None of them are getting arrested, nothing. And they lied and misdiagnosed $50 billion worth. Think of how much kickback those doctors made. And what they were doing to get you to go is giving you gift cards. All they would do, how the diagnoses were made. Look at this. It all had to do with this healthcare, changing your thing, going up to your house. Now they're judge, jury, and executioner, and they can say whatever they want. It talks about how these guys can put liens on stuff, contracts never come back. I mean, it just goes on and on about how they can fake this, fake that. I mean, and then insurers called the analytics inaccurate, flawed. No, they were fucking not inaccurate or flawed. They were a scam. They were a Ponzi scheme. They were doctors fucking lying to get kickbacks. And taxpayers paid $50 billion to those fucking doctors and then those insurance companies through Medicare. Like I said, if you know anybody, and that's what they do, and they do it through to older people, elderly, people that actually need health care. They'll suddenly misdiagnose them just to get fucking money. Like I said, when's this shit ever stopped, dude? This shit is unbelievable. We have criminals. We have people like Martin fucking Shkreli's, I'm going to jack up the price. You wonder why the entire world hates you. You're a fucking cancer to the entire human population, dude. Just like all these people. Like I said, it's like, Healthcare is just as big of a scam, if not more. I'm not going to say if not more, but yeah, it pretty much is. If not more than fucking Wall Street. Because you know what? A bag of insulin's like 7 cents, but they charge you $7,000 fucking dollars for a bag of fucking insulin. Or, I mean, salt water. Sorry. IVs. Your little IV bag. Not insulin, your IV bag of 7-cent IV bag. Oh, well, we had to charge her $700 because we have a fucking stand that holds the bag up, and some girl had to prick it in your fucking skin for under 1 second. We had to pay that girl to 1 second worth of her salary, a nanosecond, $700. Meanwhile, since we talked last time, the national debt has gone up another $90 billion. So, in other words, in 2 weeks, in 2 fucking weeks, no, sorry, 3, in 3 weeks from now, so when my son is going to be born, we're going to break 35 trillion in debt. No big deal. So our debt's just growing, deficit's growing, system's collapsing under itself. What else is happening? I told everybody banks are going to keep losing money, and what's going on? Guess what? 51.2 billion more through a shortened week. So through the July 4th weekend, which was a shortened week, 51 billion left the bank deposits and flowed into money market funds again. It's now at an all-time record high, and I've told you, follow the money, chase the money. Guess what? They're going to keep going in there. They're going to keep getting their giant rates. Now, what is happening with the banks? The system will collapse because banks are making themselves even more relevant. How are they doing that? Well, guess what they decided to do? Let me ask you a question. Why do you put your money in a bank? Well, you put your money in a bank to have it secure, and you're supposed to make interest by having your money by allowing the bank to use your money to do criminal shit with, right? Okay. They decided to tell everybody, we're now going to make you pay to use our bank. JP Morgan is now going to charge 86 million customers for having a checking account. If you have a checking account, you are now going to be paying fees through JP Morgan. If you also have what was the other thing? If you also have any wealth management tools, those are now going to be fees. The potential charges, here you go. Results of new regulatory rules that cap overdraft and late fees say Chase now needs to pass along those increased expenses to customers. So they're not going to make them fucking pay to have a checking account. You're now going to have to pay to use a bank. So the interest you get, you don't get any interest from banks. They give you 0.2%. And now you're going to need to pay banks to take your money and do criminal things with it. So they can steal your retirement too. Why in the hell is anyone using a bank? You don't get interest anymore. You pay them you're paying them to take your money and do illegal stuff with it, and it might not be there when you need it. Banks are literally becoming pointless. Money market funds are where people are going to have to run. And this is the problem that I'm showing with the United States, because eventually they might need to default. And guess what's going to get fucked? Money market funds. But guess what? Banks are already fucking you anyways. But it's the only place in the meantime to go run and actually make money. So again, money market funds are still the way to go because this debt won't stop going up. They're going to have to keep raising rates on this. Why banks are lowering rates, and now banks are charging you fucking fees. Why would you stay with criminals that are charging you? I'm going to charge you to hold your money with me, and then I'm going to go use your money to steal your fucking retirement. Get the fuck out of these banks, guys. The fact the biggest criminal enterprise has 86 million customers, if you're listening to me and you're in JP Morgan or you're in Chase Bank, you're part of the fucking problem. Get the fuck out of there. Meanwhile, this is fucking hilarious. So, Citigroup got in trouble in 2020. And they're like, you need to fucking update your shit. And they go, all right, we will. So 4 years down the road, JP Morgan Chase gets fined because they have problems with data quality management and failed implementation to control risk management. So in other words, their system was broken and they didn't have controlled risk and they were letting shit all fucked up. And they said, you need to fix this because your risk is way too great. They said, Citibank goes, sure, we'll get it fixed. 4 years later, they go, our system's still the same. Well, here's a $60 million fine while you're sitting there stealing billions and billions and billions. And this is my point. These guys are stealing billions of fucking dollars. There's only so much money out there. There's only so many assets fucking out there. Well, guess what? I'm just going to skip ahead for a second. The world is sitting on a yeah, you hear this right. The world is sitting on a $91 trillion problem. You hear this right. Hard choices are coming. You're damn right they're coming. Governments in the world owe $91 trillion, an amount equal to the size of the global economy. And then every single time people start to talk about this, realize this and go, what the fuck? This is what Congress says every time. This is what these fucking assholes say every single time. Well, where is it? The only way to fucking fix this, is to give people less Medicare. It's to take out less Social Security. How about stopping the problem in the first place? You know what else you could do? You're paying more in interest now on your debt than you're paying in Social Security or Medicare. Pay some of your fucking debt back. Wow. And your interest could go down. So if you pay down and start tackling the fucking debt problem, you won't have to touch Social Security or the other thing. But every one of these congressmen, well, if we're going to have to fix the debt ceiling, if we're going to have to fix the debt thing, the only thing we can do is take away fucking benefits. Here you go. Tackling America's debt problem will require either tax hikes, so we need more hikes from the little guys. We need to cut benefits. We need to take out Social Security and other health insurance programs. That is how we're going to have to fix America's debt problem. That is what your congressmen say. That is what your chief economics and people say. This is what your people are talking about. Well, we're going to have to do this. No, you could actually just fix the debt. You could start paying it down. You could start fixing some of this problem, and then your interest would go down. Holy fuck. Problem solved, and you're not killing your people. Now, here's the thing. U.S. household debt had reached a record now. Americans are falling behind on their credit card payments. Americans are starting to fall behind on their credit card payments, which means buy now, pay laters are starting to collapse as well. And what does this mean? The number of hardship withdrawals per 1,000 people have increased about 40% last year and have doubled since 2021. In other words, everybody is living off their retirements. People are living off retirements just to get by. And what does that mean? Nobody has money to spend. Which means what? All of these fucking commercial real estates are going to go under. Because why? U.S. office vacancy rates break 20% for the first time ever in history. So again, nobody has money. All these people found out, hey, we can stay afloat if we just, from COVID, hey, if we just don't have a fucking office, if everybody just works from home. It's the only way we can afford to stay afloat. And guess what? You're going to have a bomb of $929 billion coming down. Now, if you look down here, one of the things I wanted to show you guys, it's even worse than I thought in commercial real estate, because not only do you have that giant amount, look what they've been doing. They have been also retaking out loans. Now, everybody asks me, how are these guys surviving? Why haven't we squeezed? Because they've been getting loans from the feds. They've been getting loans from this bank. They've been getting loans from this bank. And guess what these type of loans are? Look at this. Regional banks have shifted towards making more riskier loans. They now hold large share of non-investment grade corporate loans, junk loans. Junk loans. They're buying up junk loans, which are more than 3 times more likely to default than investment grade loans. They're going to just trash. They're living off garbage. They're buying garbage, using the garbage as collateral, and eventually people are going to look over and say, hey, we don't want your fucking garbage collateral. And at that point, banks are failing. Again, they're barely hanging on. Now listen to this. Now I want you to listen to this number. The feds have projected total losses on these fucking loans to reach up to $571 billion under a severe scenario. That's fucking ridiculous. Again, they're all holding junk bonds and living through the junk bonds that are about to get downgraded again because all the corporations that the junk bonds that are attached to are getting less and less revenue and eventually are going to collapse. So again, the regional banks will collapse from the junk loans. The regional banks will collapse not only from the junk bonds and the junk loans, they're going to also collapse because they are going to get smashed by a $929 billion fucking in commercial real estate. You guys, there's going to be over 1.3 trillion hitting these guys. What do you think's going to save them? Nothing. Meanwhile, AMC fundamentally is recovering. We're going to be smashing records. We're going to be recovering in 2025. Profits. 2026. We're going to ascend. We're going to take off fundamentally. And I don't even think they'll, like I said, I don't think they're going to be able to last that long to hold off on a squeeze. The system's crushing them down. The system's collapsing everywhere. They're now living off junk bonds. They're living off junk bonds. There's not much less they can go to. There's nowhere else for them to go to. I already showed you shadow banking's done. They used up private banking. They used up banking. They used up fucking shadow banking. And now they went out and used up the junk bonds. What's left? Nothing. Meanwhile, distressed investors, they have 400 billion. Private equity firms are sitting on 400 billion of dry powder that are going to scoop these fucking all these loans up pennies on the dollar, 10, 15, 20, 35%. All these things are going to all these commercial real estates are going to sell, but they're going to sell at 75% off. And all these banks are going to take it because they're going to have to pay creditors, and that's it. Like I said, guys, the ticking time bomb is coming. They're fucked. There's nothing these guys can do. They're making it harder. They're living off junk. They're living off other people's fucking junk. Too much stealing's going on. Not enough's being produced. GDP's not high enough. We're making our deficit grow. I've been saying, yeah, I feel like, what were we talking about, August? I feel like August, like I said, August is going to be a very good month for us. Again, I expect in August to be that refinance. I expect a debt for equity exchange in August. I expect him to wait until July's profits, August profits. Nothing but great things going on. Debt for equity exchange. AMC's price will recover. I expect us to recover pretty good, towards September. Don't fucking buy call options on me saying shit like that. That's just opinions, not financial advice. Do what you want to do, but that's just what I see going forward here. So the last thing I do want to say before I go, just because this is criminal and I want people to see this. Boeing 737 MAX crashes killed 346 people. The punishment for them, they just pled guilty. Nobody goes to jail for killing 346 people. The company was fined $487 million, and the very next day, Boeing had a new report come out saying that they literally put in faulty air oxygen masks on over 2,600 airplanes. So once again, not only is your plane going to go down if it's a Boeing, you're probably going to pass out before, because your oxygen mask, at least you'll pass out. Your oxygen mask isn't going to work on the way down. So, but like I said, guys, criminals, fucking 346 killed. No one will go to prison for it. But again, guys, thank you for listening. Murphy is going crazy. I need to go get the wifey fed, but I will be going live again more frequently. I'm going to get back into the flow of it. Just had to take some time off. Like I said, I had to get the nursery room ready. I had to do a whole bunch of stuff, go get all these things for him set up. So hopefully, like I said, little Bigum should be here in about 2 to 3 weeks, everyone. I'm super excited. He's due on the 4th of August. So thank you guys for listening. I'll talk to you guys soon, and I hope you all have a very good day.